When the sun peaks over the horizon and the sky begins to stir with color, the world reminds us of something profound. Every new day is a gift, unwrapped slowly by the rising light. Morning is not just the start of hours. It is the chance to meet yourself again, to breathe into your own being, to whisper gratitude before the noise of the day comes rushing in. There is a power in devotion at dawn when the earth is still soft with silence. In those moments the heart is wide open, uncluttered by worry, ready to receive, to sit quietly, to bow your head, to lift your spirit in prayer or reflection, is to remind yourself that you are never walking alone. You are cradled by something larger than your fear, something deeper than your doubt, something stronger than your pain. Morning devotion is not only words spoken into the air. It is a rhythm, a way of aligning your soul with the promise of the day. When you rise and greet the morning with reverence, you step into the world wearing a shield of peace. The traffic cannot steal your calm. The critics cannot undo your worth. The burdens cannot crush the light within you, because you have already found your center before the day demanded anything of you. Each morning invites you to release yesterday's heaviness and to stand again in hope. Devotion transforms ordinary minutes into sacred space. It teaches your heart to sing even when your eyes are swollen from tears. It teaches your spirit to dance even when your feet feel heavy. The act of surrender in the morning is not weakness. It is strength, because it takes courage to let go, courage to trust, courage to begin again. When you make a habit of turning inward before you face the outward, life itself begins to change. The storms may still come, but you learn to hold your umbrella of faith steady. The shadows may still creep, but you carry a candle lit with quiet conviction. Every sunrise becomes a reminder you are alive, you are capable, you are chosen to live this day fully. The morning is a sacred canvas, brushed with light before the rush of the world spills its colors across your day. At that early hour when the air is still cool, when even the trees seem to pause and listen, something whispers to your spirit: begin here. Begin with quiet. Begin with reverence. Begin with the kind of devotion that waters the roots of your soul. For the truth is, how you rise determines how you will walk, and how you walk will shape how you will live. Morning devotion is not a ritual of formality, nor is it bound by strict rules or rigid expectations. It is a practice of remembering, a way of gathering yourself before the world scatters you. It is as simple as taking a breath with intention, as powerful as uttering a prayer from the depths of your being, as healing as opening a page of wisdom that steadies your heart. To pause before the day begins is to declare that your spirit is worth tending, your heart is worth filling, your life is worth shaping. Imagine what happens when you rise and devote the earliest light to reflection. The noise of yesterday loses its hold, the burdens of tomorrow cannot yet intrude, and you are left with the most precious gift, the present moment. And in that moment you find clarity. You discover that devotion is not about perfection but about presence. It is about showing up, weary or strong, doubtful or certain, broken or whole, and saying, "Here I am, ready to be renewed, ready to be led, ready to be changed." When you build your mornings on devotion, you build your days on a foundation that cannot be shaken by every storm. Life will still bring disappointments, but they will not undo you. Trials will still rise, but they will not define you. Because devotion plants something unshakable within you: peace. The kind of peace that whispers calm even when the world shouts chaos. The kind of peace that holds you steady when your emotions waver. The kind of peace that keeps you from losing yourself in the noise. Morning devotion is the discipline of feeding your soul before you feed your schedule. It is the art of sitting still when the world urges you to rush. It is the quiet act of strength, because it takes courage to stop and tend to what matters most. In those minutes of prayer, meditation, or reflection, you are weaving armor for the day ahead. You are clothing yourself not in garments of worry, but in garments of hope. You are stepping into the day not empty, but overflowing. Every sunrise offers a new opportunity to choose your perspective. Without devotion, the mind may wake up anxious, carrying the unfinished tasks of yesterday. Without devotion, the heart may wake up restless, weighed down by wounds that have not yet healed. Without devotion, the soul may wake up thirsty, searching for meaning in places that cannot satisfy. But with devotion, the anxious mind learns to rest. With devotion, the restless heart learns to trust. With devotion, the thirsty soul learns to drink from wells that never run dry. There is something humbling about the morning. It reminds you that you are part of a rhythm bigger than yourself. The sun rises without your permission, the birds sing without your invitation, the sky turns its colors without asking for your applause. And yet, you are invited into it all. Morning devotion teaches you gratitude for what you did not create, gratitude for what you cannot control, gratitude for the gift of simply being alive to witness another dawn. Gratitude itself is devotion, a way of bowing your heart without words. Think of devotion as a seed planted in the soil of your spirit. Each morning you water it with words of prayer, drops of silence, or breaths of stillness. Over time, it grows roots so deep that no storm can uproot it. And like any seed, it may not show its strength immediately. Some mornings you may rise and feel nothing extraordinary. But devotion is not measured in feelings, it is measured in faithfulness. The very act of showing up, day after day, is what shapes you. Slowly, quietly, it transforms you until you realize your life has become a garden of peace, patience, and strength. Morning devotion changes how you see the world. Instead of rushing into the day with clenched fists, you open your hands. Instead of carrying yesterday's bitterness, you carry today's grace. Instead of moving through life distracted and drained, you move through it awake and alive. Devotion does not erase struggle, but it redefines it. The same problems may still exist, but you carry them differently. You carry them with faith. You carry them with resilience. You carry them with hope. There is power in beginning the day with words that uplift rather than words that wound. When you speak blessings over yourself in the morning, you set the tone for everything that follows. A heart that begins with gratitude will notice beauty where others see only burden. A mind that begins with prayer will find wisdom where others find confusion. A spirit that begins with devotion will shine light where others walk in shadow. Many people rush into the day, chasing tasks, checking lists, chasing approval, running after a sense of worth that always seems just out of reach. But morning devotion reminds you that your worth does not come from what you accomplish. It comes from who you already are. In devotion, you remember that you are enough. You remember that you are enough. You remember that you are here not by accident, but with purpose. That memory becomes your anchor, and from that place of security, you can step into the world with confidence. Morning devotion also invites you into honesty. It is the quiet space where masks can fall, where you do not need to perform or pretend. In the silence of devotion, you can admit your fears without shame, you can confess your doubts without judgment, you can reveal your wounds without rejection. Devotion is the safest place to bring your whole self, the strong and the weak, the bold and the broken, and to know you are still held. It is not always easy to rise early or to choose devotion over distraction. The bed is warm, the phone is tempting, the demands of the day feel urgent. But what is urgent is not always what is important, and what is important is the care of your soul. Morning devotion is an act of resistance against the rush. It is a declaration that your spirit will not be starved by business, that your heart will not be ruled by anxiety, that your life will not be consumed by noise. Consider the way a musician tunes their instrument before the performance begins. Without tuning, the music will be distorted, out of harmony, unpleasant to the ear. Morning devotion is the tuning of your spirit. It aligns you with peace, gratitude, and strength, so that the song of your life can be played in harmony throughout the day. Without devotion, the song may falter. With devotion, the melody rings clear, steady, and beautiful. The practice of morning devotion also nurtures resilience. Life will not always be gentle. There will be days when loss knocks at your door, when grief sits heavy in your chest, when failure whispers that you are not enough. But a soul that is fed in the morning will not wither under the weight of hardship. Devotion becomes the well you draw from when your strength runs low. It becomes the voice that reminds you, even in darkness, the dawn will come again. As you rise each morning, remember that devotion is not limited to words spoken aloud. It can be found in the simple act of pausing to watch the sunrise, in the quiet gratitude that flows as you sip your first glass of water, in the steady rhythm of your breath as you sit in silence. Devotion is as vast as the sky and as intimate as the beating of your heart. What matters is not how it looks to others, but how it nourishes you. When you choose morning devotion consistently, the change is not only within you but around you. The way you treat others begins to shift. A heart grounded in morning peace becomes gentler in conflict. A mind rooted in morning clarity becomes wiser in decision-making. A soul anchored in morning devotion becomes more compassionate, more forgiving, more patient. Your life becomes a reflection of the devotion you practice in private. The world today hungers for peace, for kindness, for courage. And it begins with individuals who rise each morning and devote themselves to becoming vessels of these very things. Morning devotion is not only for your benefit, it ripples outward, touching everyone you encounter. The smile you offer a stranger, the patience you show a coworker, the forgiveness you extend to a loved one. These are the fruits of a soul watered in the morning. Do not underestimate the quiet power of those moments. Devotion may feel small compared to the enormity of the world's problems, but small seeds can grow into towering trees. And the strength of a tree is not only in its height but in its roots. Each morning of devotion deepens your roots, so when the winds of life blow, you remain standing. So rise not just to meet the sun, but to meet your spirit. Rise not just to face the tasks of the day, but to feed the hunger of your soul. Rise not just to survive, but to live fully, deeply, and meaningfully. Morning devotion is the invitation you receive every dawn, the key that unlocks peace, the path that leads to transformation. And when you choose it day after day, it will not only change your mornings, it will change your life. Each dawn is an invitation, a soft whisper that stirs the spirit before the noise of the day can crowd it out. In those quiet first breaths of morning, the soul stands at a threshold between what was and what will be. And in that space you have a choice. You can rush forward into the chaos, or you can pause, lift your heart, and root yourself in devotion. When you choose devotion, you choose alignment. You choose to remember that you are not only flesh and bone, but breath and spirit. You choose to start from a place of fullness instead of emptiness. There is a sacredness in those early moments that too many overlook. When the sun lifts itself slowly, when the world is wrapped in silence, when the body is rested and the heart is tender, that is when your spirit is most open. That is when you can listen without distraction. That is when you can offer yourself to something greater than you and receive back more than you imagined. The morning is not just the beginning of a day, it is the chance to begin your life. The power of morning devotion lies not in grand gestures but in quiet constancy. To kneel in prayer, to sit in stillness, to open a journal and pour out gratitude. These are not wasted minutes, they are investments. They are the bricks that build a fortress of peace around your day. Without them, the world rushes in unfiltered, overwhelming, pressing against your chest until you feel breathless. With them, you create a space that cannot be stolen, a center that cannot be shaken, a strength that cannot be denied. Life is full of noise. The phones buzz, the deadlines loom, the voices of others demand your attention. But the morning offers you something rare, silence. And silence is not empty. It is filled with answers you have been too busy to hear, filled with comfort you have been too restless to feel, filled with direction you have been too distracted to notice. Devotion turns silence into sanctuary. It teaches you to sit with yourself and discover you are never truly alone. There will be mornings when you do not feel strong enough, mornings when grief presses heavily, mornings when worry wakes you before the alarm. Those are the mornings when devotion matters most. Because devotion is not about how you feel, it is about what you choose. Even in tears you can whisper a prayer. Even in confusion you can sit in stillness. Even in weakness you can lift your eyes. And those small acts, repeated faithfully, transform weakness into resilience, confusion into clarity, despair into hope. Morning devotion is also an act of surrender. To rise and begin with reverence is to admit that you do not control every outcome, that you cannot carry every burden, that you are not meant to walk alone. Surrender does not mean defeat. It means trust. It means placing what you cannot hold into the hands of the one who can. It means loosening your grip on yesterday's mistakes and tomorrow's worries, so you can hold today with both hands open. That surrender sets you free, and freedom is the soil where joy can grow. Imagine the difference between walking into the day scattered and hurried, or walking into the day centered and calm. The same obstacles may appear, but you will meet them differently. A heart steady in devotion will not be as easily rattled. A mind rooted in prayer will not be as quickly shaken. A spirit strengthened at dawn will not be as easily broken. Devotion does not remove life's storms, but it teaches you how to stand in them without drowning. Morning devotion also awakens gratitude. When you take time to reflect on what is good, no matter how small, your perspective shifts. The sunrise itself becomes a reminder of renewal. The breath in your lungs becomes evidence of purpose. The chance to begin again becomes a miracle. Gratitude reshapes the day before it begins, so instead of rushing into scarcity, you step into abundance. Instead of bracing for what may go wrong, you open yourself to what can go right. Gratitude makes even ordinary mornings shine with extraordinary light. Devotion is not limited to words. It is lived in the choices you make after those moments of reflection. When you begin with peace, you are more likely to bring peace to others. When you begin with patience, you are more likely to extend patience throughout the day. When you begin with love, you carry that love into every encounter. The devotion you practice privately becomes the fragrance you release publicly. You do not need to announce it. People will feel it in your presence, in your kindness, in the steadiness of your spirit. The truth is, life will always try to pull you away from what matters. The urgent will demand your focus, the loud will demand your energy, the endless cycle of tasks will demand your time. But morning devotion reclaims what is yours. It reminds you that you are not defined by how much you do, but by how deeply you live. It anchors you so that no matter how busy the day becomes, you carry within you a stillness the world cannot take away. Think of morning devotion as tuning your heart before the day begins. A musician would not perform without tuning their instrument, for the sound would be off, discordant, unpleasant. In the same way, if you begin the day without tuning your spirit, you may find yourself out of harmony with life. Devotion aligns you. It sharpens your hearing for the voice of wisdom. It steadies your pace for the rhythm of the day. It keeps your life from becoming noise and allows it to become music. The longer you practice morning devotion, the more you will notice its fruit. You will find yourself calmer in conversations that once sparked anger. You will find yourself hopeful in situations that once felt hopeless. You will find yourself courageous in moments that once filled you with fear. And slowly, you will realize the transformation is not only in your mornings, it is in your life. So rise when the world is still dark. Breathe in the quiet. Let your first words be words of gratitude. Your first thoughts be thoughts of reverence. Your first actions be acts of devotion. Do not wait until the day is half spent and your spirit is half drained. Begin with fullness, begin with peace, begin with strength. For the morning is not just a time, it is an opening. And what you pour into it will echo through every hour that follows. So when the sun rises tomorrow, do not rush past its invitation. Pause. Breathe. Offer your first thoughts, your first words, your first moments to devotion. Because how you begin will shape how you endure, and how you endure will shape who you become. Do not hand your mornings over to hurry, to fear, or to distraction. Claim them for peace, for gratitude, for strength. A life grounded in morning devotion is a life that cannot be easily shaken. Rise with purpose, walk with faith, and let each dawn remind you, you hold the power to begin again, and that beginning can change everything.